What is up, guys? So today what we're going to do is I just want to get the intake manifold off. Should be relatively simple, but there are two things that are a major pain. Evo 8s, you don't have to worry about one of the things. We got the alternator bracket. It's more of a pain to put back on than it is to take off. But the Evo 9s have the MIVEC line that runs in the back of the block. So that's going to be the worst part, but they're more of a pain to get back on than they are to get off. So let's get started. Alright guys, so I'm going to try to make this somewhat of a how-to kind of thing. I'm going to try to get into as much detail as I can with how this stuff comes like apart and all that. So what we're going to, I mean, it sucks it's going to be slightly different for, you know, whatever your application is, but generally it's going to be mostly the same thing for about everybody. So what we're going to start here with is the dipstick. It does have a bolt that goes onto the intake manifold. It seems like it is a 12 millimeter. So we'll go ahead, give that a test. Yes, it is a 12 millimeter. I will go ahead and show you where it is at. Right here. You guys can see it pretty well. That has to come off. So oh, okay. So mine's slightly bent, very little bit. So it was putting some pressure on it. So that is just a easy takeoff. What I like to do is try to put the bolts back where they came from, just for easy reference later on. Next thing, what we're going to do is try to get some of these vacuum lines out of the way. Actually, we have to take off the throttle body sensor clip. It is right here. I just pulled it off. It does. Sometimes it usually has these little clips on it. Mine went missing, so mine does not have that anymore. We'll have some vacuum lines will have to come off. So I believe this is my boost to my boost gauge. So I'll go ahead and pull that off. Tuck this in the back here somewhere so it's kind of out of the way. I also have my what is this again? My hob switch is tied into that, so I have it zip tied. Go ahead, pull the zip tie off, give her a little snip. Now that should come off. Oh, of course, it fucking broke. Why wouldn't it? So that happened. We'll have to clean that up before reinstall. The hard part about this is just trying to keep these vacuum lines out of the way. Then we got a, I think this is a brake booster line right here. So we'll just remove it from right here. Just take a pair of needle nose and pop that off. So needle nose. So there's that. There is also a ground wire here. Mine is broke. I haven't had any issues with it being like that, so I'm leaving it that way. Next we'll do the throttle cable. I like to try to make sure this goes back in the exact place that it was in. Normally it's going to be dirty on top of here, so you'll be able to see where the bolt was sitting at. So, and I remember last time I took this off, that was the situation for me. So what we're going to do is grab the 10mm. And what I'm going to do is twist off. I'm going to loosen one of these out just enough to see if I can see where the lines are. And yes, we can see where these were sitting at. Makes it very easy for reinstallation. You can see where it was sitting. What I'll also do is I wouldn't mind cleaning this cable up a little bit. So I'll have to, I'm going to mark these with something that will stay on there while I clean them up. But that'll be a later date. So we got that off. Gonna put the bolts back down in the intake for time being. Now for throttle cable, very, very easy to actually get it off of here. See if I can get a good view. So just kind of, I don't know if you guys ever worked on old bicycles, like brakes on bicycles. You just kind of pull this up. There's a little gap on the back, on the front side here, and just line the cable up with that, and then it just pulls right out. Then that's all that is for the cable. You just pull this up out of the way somewhere. All right, so what we got next is, how many hoses we got? So we got two coolant lines back here. I guess we should take this off too. There's a sensor here. I'm not exactly sure what sensor this is, but obviously that's gonna have to pop off. And yeah, there's two coolant hoses going up into here. So needle nose pliers on these ones, and then there's a pain in the ass one in the back here that we'll have to fend angle. Guys, I actually don't even know if I even took these lines off before. These things are a little on the crusty side, so I might not have ever actually removed these. I think what I did was remove them from the block. So actually, this front one that's easier to get to from the actual throttle body, I'm going to get that one off. And then I'll show you where I'm going to get the other one removed from. Coolant lines are always a pain in the ass because they tend to corrode just a little bit, and they like to stick. loose. There we go. All right. So, got that coolant line off. Now, let me get back up here. I'm going to show you guys this bottom line. I got coolant on my fingers. This bottom line, or the back line, I guess you can say, it comes up right here. So I'm going to just remove it from there. It is just the easier spot to remove it from. Going to pull this bigger line, twist this clamp around just a little bit, just so I can get in here. So, got that one down. Gonna take my pick and try to break this up, get it from sticking. Just moving the pick around, you can hear it loosening itself. So there's that line. She's draining coolant. So maybe maybe drain the coolant before you start doing this, because she's just making a mess right now. But whatever, that's what they have cat litter, or oil dry, whatever you want to call it. That's what they make that for, clean messes up. So that should be most of the stuff off of the intake manifold, like sensors and lines. Now it will be the alternator bracket and the MIVEC line. So I think the way we have to do this first is the MIVEC line, and one of the bolts is up here, the other one is way down the bottom of the block. It is a ass to get to. I do not remember what sizes these are. I want to say, oh yeah, these ones are huge. A 15/16 will fit on it. I'm not sure what the metric version of that would be, but these are just banjo bolts, so they don't get a very, very high torque. So I'm okay with, well, maybe they do, but I'm okay with using a 15/16. It's even a 12 point. It still works fine for these. The worst part about these two banjo bolts for the MIVEC line is that they both have a copper crush washer, one on the block and one on the bolt. So you have to make sure you grab them. I'm not going to say to do it, but I have reused the copper washers. You can get them relatively cheap. (15/16) will take this off. Make sure you put these somewhere nice and safe, and we will clean these up a little bit. Okay, so this other one, I believe it is definitely a smaller one. I don't remember exactly how small, but it is a bitch to get to because it is right down the bottom. I won't even be able to really show you guys just because it's that much of an ass. But what we're gonna try to do I believe it is a 19. So I'm gonna try to get at it from the back here. Like I said, guys, it's way back there, and there's so many lines on the passenger side here to get to, or to get through to get to it. So I like coming at it from the passenger side here, and it is a 19. Go ahead, third one. Broke loose, and that's it. Just remember that there is a copper washer on this one on the block side as well. So make sure you grab it. If you don't, it more than likely will fall on top of the transfer case. The transfer case transmission area. What the fuck? Okay, I got it. And there's ducks in my driveway. So, got the copper washer. Also a bitch thing is getting this line in and out. It is a hard line. Okay, there's a baby copper washer on that one. Great. Also, these come factory. There is a bolt hole here that goes onto the intake manifold. Just do yourselves a favor and just zip it off. It just makes it just so much worse when you don't necessarily need it. I've been running it like this for I think all year, and it's fine. It doesn't like vibrate around or whatever. But yeah, there's this has a bolt hole on it, and it's supposed to go on one of the bottom intake bolts. Pain in the ass. Makes it way worse than it already is. So just do yourself a favor, just zip that thing right off. All right, so now that I got oil everywhere, try to do a little cleanup here. Definitely make sure I keep these JDM headlights nice and nice. You can't have them all pucked up. So, all right, now we can go ahead and remove the alternator bracket. I believe it's just two 12s. Yes, it is two 12mm bolts. Here we go. One of these is easier to get at with an extension than the one that is on the block side. Come up under here and get it from here relatively easy. Guys, also make sure that if you're taking bolts off, if you don't put them back exactly where they came from, do yourselves a favor also and just put them into a bag and label the bag where it came from. I did that with a lot of my parts on the other side. If I don't know where they go, or it prevents you from putting it back together and sitting there trying to figure out where the hell goes where. I mean, if you're going balls deep into a project like this anyway, you probably already know that little trick. So there's one. And what we're gonna do is get a shallow 12 to go ahead and get this other one down here. Also, the other shitty part about this alternator bracket is it only goes one way back on. So we'll get to that point when we get there. I remember sitting here spending half hour to an hour just trying to get the bolts to line up on this thing. I don't remember the trick to it, so when we get there, we'll get there. Yes, there's 3 holes on this. I don't know how the other one bolts up, but yeah, you only use 2 of these. And this thing is covered in oil. So yeah, this thing, it is a pain in the ass to put back on. That is it for things that are in the fucking way. That should be everything for the intake manifold. Now it is the actual bolts. There is, let me see, 2 of them are studs. The 2 corner ones, they are 14s. And what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe it's 6. Yeah, it should be just 6. Because actually, on that alternator bracket, one of the intake bolts actually goes through that. So you already got one down, which is really, really good. So what we do is get a 12. Should be Gucci right here. Nope. So can't get a 12 on some of these. You'll need a 12 wrench for some of these. So we'll go ahead and just want to break the torque on these. I'm not sure if the intake manifold is actually one of those ones that you have to kind of be careful where you're, or what ones you're taking off in like specific orders and stuff. So don't quote me on anything. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get to these ones underneath the runner with an extension and a deep well socket. Okay, we got one. Very hard to see under here. Best course is to try to guide it in from just looking between the runners. And should only have one more here. Doesn't seem like I can get to that one very easy. So what we're gonna do is get the wrench, go way up under here, and try to figure out which way I need to go. I think towards me. Maybe. Try to get a long 12, just for one leverage. Oh, there we go. Ratchet wrenches would be swell, but I don't even have any power tools. So we got all these untorqued except for the 2 14s on the side. These do have washers on them, just so you know. These are the intake bolts. So we're gonna set these over there, just so they're out of the way. I'm gonna jump back down. Helps to have baby arms. I've worked on, this stuff isn't too bad because I don't know if I told you guys, but I was active duty Marines for 5 years, and I worked on the MV-22 Osprey. And if you guys never worked on airplanes, helicopters, whatever, they're built from the inside out. So you learn to put your hands in some weird ass spots to get to places. My one underneath the runner here doesn't seem like it's loose enough. Hopefully that's good there. There we go. Now that should be all of them underneath the runners. Or the, well, yeah, whatever. Now we'll go ahead and pull the tops. There we go. So now what we have left are the two 14s on the end here. So go ahead and should be able to get to them with a ratchet. And I don't know where my 14 is. Go figure. It's not a 10 though, so it can't be too far. We all know those run away. I was looking for my 6-point, but whatever. And can't get a 14 in there anyway. Actually, I can. I'm just a little slow. There we go. That should actually work. Alright. So, got the 14 on there. Break this loose. These should be just the studs. And do these have washers on them? Yes, these also have lock washers on them. So make sure you do not drop those. One washer. And, oops, I forgot, shit. Whenever I had this at CBRD, they rerouted my fuel pressure regulator because I had it tapped into a line. They highly recommended that you just have it on its own source. But they used, I forget what they're called, I've seen it before, but instead of zip ties, I mean, I don't blame them because this is a little bit more professional looking. They use these style clamp things. Yeah, I don't know which one I want to remove because these are usually asked to try to take apart. So yeah, I'm gonna remove one of these. I don't know which one yet. Figure something out. Now these like to be manhandled around a little bit. Oh, alright, well, I just pulled it off. Probably because that's a little oily, so I'm going to assume that wouldn't work in any other scenario. But yeah, she was a little oily, so I just gave her a little tug. So, if all done correctly, this should want to come right out. You have to do a little bit of finagling because the the oil dipstick, yeah, that word. The dipstick doesn't like to move around a whole lot. So there we go. Intake manifold is removed, and she looks a little grimy. And a little, I mean, a shit ton. But yeah, that is it for intake removal, intake manifold removal. What I want to do, I really want to powder coat all this stuff, but I'm not sure if I'm going to powder it because I have no idea how these throttle bodies go together, because obviously I would have to completely tear it apart if I was going to do that. So yeah, I guess we'll just stay tuned for that. Alright guys, so that's removal of a Evo 9 intake manifold. I know I didn't do a whole lot of beginning stuff, but that was with everything like a lot of the stuff already out. But the fuel rail is not hard to remove. It's just 2 bolts, and you remove the injectors. I think that's the only thing that I actually missed. Also taking off the strut bar. But yeah, there we go guys. I will see you in the next one.